Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be on this planet of ours. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. As we have been doing for quite some time, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance and the United States National Anthem. Would everybody please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now would you make welcome, straight from Washington, D.C., the United States Army Corps Quartet.
Yeah.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Oh yeah! Come on, folks, let them know it.
The United States Army Barbershop Quartet at the Barbershop Quartet Convention in 2015. We want to thank the Barbershop Convention hosts that presented the Pledge of Allegiance. We want to thank these four men, the Barbershop Quartet from the United States Army, for presenting the national anthem. We pay tribute to these servicemen every day. We pay tribute to the United States Marine Corps, the Air Force, the Army, the National Guard, everybody. We want you to know how much we love and appreciate each one of you. We thank you for your service, and also we want to thank the service of those allied men and women in their armed forces for helping support the United States of America and also helping keep the United States and the entire world clean. And we say clean in a very special word. Clean means free from tyranny, free from oppression, and we hopefully can end all these darn wars that are going on. God bless you all, and may you all return home to your families in safety after your tours of duty end. God bless you all, and thank you for your service. Folks, we have a program here tonight that I was hesitant to provide for you. I've been thinking about this literally all day long. I've been laboring to put this program together for you. I am first wanting to start off this program with a presentation from Carlson Tucker. Tucker Carlson. Boy, am I blowing that. I want to provide a little inlay to let you guys know what happened. Okay? Back in January 6th, there was a peaceful protest that happened on the United States Mall. And this peaceful protest led to a lot of other things. A lot of other things that the Democrat Socialist Communist Party wants to say was a armed insurrection. It was not. I'm telling you, it was not an insurrection. This was a peaceful protest that first started with the President of the United States, Mr. T. And it was peaceful after that. But the communist Democrats of this country have turned it into something a lot worse than that it was not. It was not anything but a peaceful protest. There was no armed citizenry at all. Nobody took over the Capitol. Absolutely nobody took over the Capitol. And in fact, I have video proof, as Carlson Tucker put on the air last night. We have video proof that United States federal officers let in the protesters. There were a lot of protesters outside. Some of them broke windows to get in. But other than that, the Capitol Police let the people into the Capitol. And I'm going to show you that right now. I want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt what happened here. Carlson Tucker laid it out. We've been talking about it. A lot of people have been talking about it. Quite frankly, I want everybody to see this. Why? Because we tell the truth. Okay?
These are the pictures you've
We
seen
tell the
of
truth.
January 6th. They're familiar.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to enlarge the screen here, and then I'm going to play this for you. Okay? Again, this was on Tucker Carlson last night. We've got permission, and I'm going to play this for you, and then we're going to talk.
Because they've been playing on a loop on every media outlet in America for the last 2 years. There's a reason for that. But it turns out there's quite a bit of video you haven't seen. And that video tells a very different story about what happened on January 6th. More than 40,000 hours of surveillance footage from in and around the Capitol have been withheld from the public. And once you see the video, you'll understand why. Taken as a whole, the video record does not support the claim that January 6th was an insurrection. In fact, it demolishes that claim. And that's exactly why the Democratic Party and its allies in the media prevented you from seeing it. By controlling the images you were allowed to view from January 6th, they controlled how the public understood that day. They could lie about what happened, and you would never know the difference. Those lies had a purpose. They created a pretext for a federal crackdown on opponents of the Uniparty in Washington.
Our office wanted to ensure that there was shock and awe, that we could charge as many people as possible.
The first thing you notice from viewing the full video record of January 6th is just how many people entered the Capitol building that day. Hundreds and hundreds of people, possibly thousands, over the course of about 2 hours. The crowd was enormous. A small percentage of them were hooligans. They committed vandalism. You've seen their pictures again and again. But the overwhelming majority weren't. They were peaceful, they were orderly and meek. These were not insurrectionists, they were sightseers. Footage from inside the Capitol overturns the story you've heard about January 6th. Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the Speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol, they obviously revere the Capitol. They're there because they believe the election was stolen from them. They believe in the system. Here's the man you've heard referred to as the QAnon shaman outside the Senate chamber. These are not rioters. These are people who wandered over from a political rally.
We will not let them silence your voices.
After the rally, they walked down Pennsylvania Avenue, where organizers had secured a federal permit to hold a legal rally on the grounds of the Capitol.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
Once at the Capitol building, things began to get chaotic. Capitol Police officers fired tear gas into the crowd. A few at the front of the herd broke windows. Someone opened the doors, and many hundreds of others just walked in.
They're gonna make that the story.
Of course, they did make it the story. And at the center of it, the single most famous person arrested that day was a Navy veteran from Arizona called Jacob Chansley, often referred to as the QAnon shaman.
The so-called QAnon shaman. QAnon shaman.
Someone named Q Shaman.
Jacob Chansley became the face of January 6th, a dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Contrast the reality of what Jacob Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th, the indisputable facts recorded on video, some of which has never before been seen, with the depiction of Jacob Chansley that you've seen in the media for more than 2 years. He's a terrorist, they said. He should be killed.
Shoot him. Shoot him. Like, you burst into the United States, if he was dressed like bin Laden, would you have shot him?
Shoot him! Shoot him! It makes you wonder, who are the violent extremists here? Not Jacob Chansley, and the video proves that. But you would never have known from the media coverage.
The people sitting in the chairs need to be sitting in a jail cell.
Chansley is in a jail cell. He's been there for months. If he was in fact committing such a grave crime, why didn't the officers who were standing right next to him place him under arrest? Until now, no one could even prove that even happened. But it did.
Okay? This is where I'm going to end it. No one can prove that he did commit a crime, other than being in the Capitol itself. Okay? He was peaceful. 90% of the people that were there were peaceful. And we have video, and Fox News has video. Last night on Tucker Carlson, he showed 35 minutes that were condensed from over 40,000 hours of tape. 40,000 hours of digital tape that Carlson Tucker and his crews and the Senate and the Capitol Police reviewed, and it let it pass. The Capitol Police let it pass. The Capitol people, the Senate, let it pass. And yet, what happened today? Good old Chuck Schumer came up today and said, oh, Tucker Carlson blew it. Tucker Carlson doesn't know what happened. Tucker Carlson should not have let it happen. I call BS. Chuck Schumer said that the Republican congressional chair, the Speaker of the House, McCarthy, should not have let that tape pass. Not only did McCarthy let it pass, but even his aides, the Capitol Police and other Capitol personnel, let it go. Allowed Tucker Carlson and his aides to go through 40,000 hours of tape. Okay? 40,000 hours of videotape. There was no insurrection. The word insurrection was dreamt up by the January 6th committee, composed of 70% Democrat communists. Little Miss Cheney, and I'm calling her little for a reason, she's a peon. She was a congressional woman that was elected by the state of Wyoming. Montana. But she lied. Chuck Schumer lied. Nancy Pelosi lied. And everybody, except for maybe 4 people, lied to Congress. They dreamt up this entire episode. They prosecuted innocent people, including that man that posed as QAnon shaman. Guess what? That QAnon shaman was led around by Capitol Police, and as Tucker Carlson pointed out, nothing happened. Not one Capitol Police officer tried to stop him. He did not invade the Capitol. There was no insurrection at all. The Democrat Communist Party should be taken down, and every one of them criminally prosecuted for lying to the American people, putting on a show that was broadcast 12 to 15 hours of every day for weeks and months. It was a show. They misled America. They have prosecuted innocent people. And the prosecutors themselves have misled people, drummed up information that was false. And they themselves should be held in contempt of court. Now, the very judge that got this person into custody and in jail for months now, he, as of yesterday, has all the evidence necessary to throw this case out and release this man. There was no insurrection. Okay? Rochelle D. says they sold their soul. Blood is on their hands, and you're absolutely right. The Democrat Party, the Democrat Communist Party, and that's what I've called them since day one on this show. The Democrat Communist Party needs to be abolished. The Democrat Communists should be put out of this country as non-conformists. They should be thrown out of this country. I understand free speech is as it is, but they have misled the public. They have lied. They have caused people to go to prison for no godly reason. By godly, I'm saying holy reason. Those people didn't commit crimes. The Capitol Police let those people in. Yes, there was a handful of nonconformists that forced themselves in, a handful. And they created harm to the Capitol. They were also arrested, but they were sentenced to fewer months or time in jail. But that person they called the shaman, 4 years in prison. And now the judge that held his trial has blood on his hands, and he either needs to dismiss the charges and throw the case out and exonerate him from all charges and clear his name, or the judge himself needs to sit behind bars. That's a fact. I am a former federal police officer. If I had the opportunity, I would go and arrest Chuck Schumer. I would go and arrest Nancy Pelosi and Mr. Schiff, Mr. Smiling Snidely Schiff. And I would take them all out, including That idiot over in Montana, that Congresswoman, Miss Cheney, needs to go to prison. Every last one of them need to end up in prison. And as for the people at the head of this party, the Democrat Party, including the man in the White House, needs to be thrown out on their ears. And his entire administration that got him there needs to be thrown out on their ears and prosecuted. Okay? Yeah, I'm hot under the collar. Analysis not sure if he was in jail or waiting for trial. No, that shaman guy is in prison. He was sentenced to 4 years. Okay? It's terrible. It's a miscarriage of justice. The entire January 6th video that Tucker Carlson put together shows Capitol Police escorting protesters throughout the building, including QAnon shaman. Incredible video. Completely incredible video. When I first saw it last night, I was embarrassed and appalled for our country. A miscarriage of justice, to say the least. The next story I have for you is also something that is appalling. I personally have had dealings with the drug cartel in Mexico. Okay? And I can't go into it fully right now. I personally have had dealings with the drug cartel. Now, this past Friday, there were 4 people that crossed over the United States border near Brownsville, Texas. 4 Americans disappeared into Mexico. It was first reported by a friend of theirs who called the Brownsville Police Department in Texas to make a report. The police report shows that Cheryl Orange called police from a Motel 6 in Brownsville to report that Latavia McGee, Eric Williams, Shahid Woodward had not been heard from since driving in a rented minivan towards Matamoros, Mexico on Friday morning. That's according to the Brownsville police. Miss Orange said that McGee was planning to have a medical procedure there. Orange told police that she had stayed behind in the U.S. because she did not have an ID with her. McGee, Williams, and Woodard, along with a 4th American named Zindel Brown, were kidnapped in Mexico. A U.S. official familiar with the investigation told CNN that Woodward and Brown were found dead, and McGee and Williams are being treated in a U.S. hospital. The 4 had not been answering their cell phones. Orange said in the report it adds that the Brownsville police checked a local jail to make sure that no one in the party had been taken into custody, but no other action was taken. Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said yesterday that the 4 Americans were going to buy medicine and end up in the crossfire between 2 armed groups, without offering any details. These are people from the United States. The information that was first given out was that they crossed the border to buy medicine in Mexico, when in reality they crossed the border to get sick health care. There was a confrontation between the groups, and they were detained, according to President Obrador. A video posted to social media Friday showed armed men, some wearing tan body armor, who load 4 people into the back bed of a pickup truck in broad daylight. One was alive and sitting up, but the others appeared to be either dead or wounded. That matches the account of what the FBI said happened. And in fact, the FBI and other federal agencies on the U.S. side and the Mexican side had been working on the case. The FBI had put up a $50,000 reward for information to the whereabouts of these Americans and their release from Mexican custody. The FBI San Antonio Division office said the vehicle came under fire shortly after it entered Mexico. All 4 Americans were placed in a vehicle and taken from the scene by armed men. The FBI was offering a $50,000 reward for the return of the victims and the arrest of the culprits. 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped by gunmen in Mexico had been found dead. 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped on Friday after they drove into northeast Mexico had been found dead, and the 2 survivors returned to the United States. The local government said on Tuesday, of the 4, 2 of them have died. There's 1 person injured, and the other is alive. Americo Villarreal, governor of the border state of Tamaulipas, where the 4 crossed into Mexico, said on a call with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador as the latter held a daily news conference in Mexico City on March 7th, today. 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped by gunmen on Friday after they drove into northeast Mexico have been found dead, and the 2 survivors have been returned to the U.S. That's according to President Obrador. Of the 4, 2 of them have died. 1 person injured. Other persons alive. What is being done? What is being done? Later, Tamaulipas Attorney General Irving Barrios said on Twitter that the 2 surviving Americans had been handed over to U.S. officials at the border with Texas. Federal and state officials escorted the 2 surviving Americans to an international bridge at the U.S.-Mexican border. The Attorney General of Tamaulipas confirmed in a tweet Tuesday afternoon today. The State Department spokesman Ned Price confirmed during a press conference. Officials were still in the process of working to repatriate the remains of the 2 victims who were killed. He declined to share additional information about the investigation into their abduction. The investigation is in its earliest days. Price told reporters, quote, "I understand we have more data to share from the FBI at the appropriate time. A group of Americans were found as a result of the joint search operations, according to the Attorney General. But how officials ultimately located and rescued them remains unclear. Of the 4, like we said, 2 are dead. 1 is wounded and the other is alive. And right now the ambulances and the rest of the security personnel are going for them to give their corresponding support." The governor did not share any details about how or when they were found. The nature of the wounded Americans' injuries are unknown. President Obrador said that 1 of the persons in custody is in connection with the abduction. That's according to the Associated Press. Those responsible will be found and are going to be punished, according to Obrador. Now, the American media coverage of the kidnapping and the accused reporters of sensationalism, as they normally do. Obrador said it's not like that when they kill Mexicans in the United States, according to the AP. They go quietly like mummies. A convoy of ambulances and SUVs transported the survivors to a section of the U.S.-Mexican border near Brownsville, just hours after they were found on this morning. Whether the bodies of the deceased individuals were transported along with them was not immediately known, but we are being told that those bodies will be repatriated and brought back into the United States. The lone woman in the group that was not injured still will be questioned. The kidnappings have put a harsh spotlight on U.S. concern over widespread gang violence in Mexico. The United States government, from the Republican conservative side, in particular, are pushing for the U.S. government to take a tougher line on organized crime south of the border amid rising overdose of deaths caused by fentanyl, a synthetic opioid trafficked by Mexican cartels. Matamoros, Mexico, is home to warring factions of the Gulf Drug Cartel, and the shootouts in Matamoros was so bad that the U.S. consulate issued an alert about the danger, and local authorities warned people to shelter in place on Friday in Brownsville. In Brownsville. Now, it's pretty bad, okay? I have been in Mexico. I have been in Mexico. I have seen how bad it is. I'm showing you now a map of Matamoros, Mexico, right at the border with Brownsville, Texas. Okay? I can say from my own experience, proof positive, that what is going on all up and down the U.S.-Mexican border is bad. I'm not asking anybody necessarily to stop going into Mexico, but I'm telling you, I would never take another step into Mexico again. There was a time during the 1990s, I went into Mexico to try to get my children Christmas presents. These little children's chairs that my kids cherished for years, I bought in Tijuana at Avenida Revolucion, which is a street in Mexico where they have a lot of street vendors. They have a lot of people all up and down Avenida Revolucion that sell product, whatever it might be, from Mexican blankets to trinkets to those baby chairs and other things. I went down there last time, the very last time that I entered Mexico, and I confronted two federales that stopped me, and I thought I was dead meat. I thought I was dead meat. What happened to me? Those federales, one, they were both in front of me like this. Then one of them moved like this to kind of right to the side and in back of me. From being a police officer myself, I knew that was a sign that they were about to take me down. And at that point in time, I took a step back. So I was even with the police officer that was off to the side of me. I asked both of them if they would allow me to go in my back pocket, my left rear back pocket, to show my ID, which they allowed. So I reached carefully down into my back pocket, and I pulled my ID. And just like my wallet is today, it was a two-section wallet. One had my identification on one side, the other had my badge on the other. And when I opened it to them, all of a sudden, they started retreating, and then they started running. When I identified myself as a United States federal officer, they ran away from me into Tijuana, and I ran the opposite direction towards the border. I got to the border and reported them. But of course, nothing was going to happen. That was normal day for the federales in Mexico. That's what they do best. Okay? They picked on me because I was alone. I didn't have anybody around me. But they thought they could take me. They thought they could probably extort money out of me. But when I identified myself as a federal officer, they ran away. That's why I'm here today. Don Patoka says, "Show them your badge, LOL." That's exactly what I did. Now, there were other police officers, there still are hundreds, probably thousands of Americans that still go down into Mexico. They either drive down or they walk down. I continue to hear stories from Americans that have gone down there, and have their vehicles hijacked. I've heard stories of not only getting their vehicles hijacked, but then those people are left on their own to hike back to civilization and try to cross the border. Sometimes their identifications are stolen from them by the drug cartels, by the supposed federales, which I believe a lot of these cartel members dress up as police or armed military, take people's IDs and do all sorts of nasty stuff and tell people to get lost or dispose of the bodies. I got lucky. I got back across the border. Some people have gotten lucky and also gotten back. Others have been killed. I've seen it. Now, before I got accosted myself in Mexico, one of my father's friends, one of his best friends, Bob Lemon, went down to Mexico. And at the time, you could buy fuel, gas, cheaper in Tijuana than we could get it here in the United States. And that's what he did. He had a Cadillac and took it down to a gas station to fill up. The cartels jumped him. Federales arrested him and put him in the Tijuana Pokey, as we called it, the jail. He was in jail for about a month. Weeks went by and nobody knew where Bob Lemon was. Not his wife, not his family. Then we found out that he was in the Tijuana Pokey. The U.S. consulate tried to help Bob, and they did. They first allowed my father to bring clothes and a coat for him. All he had on was a t-shirt, flip-flops, and a pair of shorts. You know those men's shorts that go to your knee? That's all he was wearing. And it's cold. At night, it's cold in Tijuana. And in the jail, there's no heat. People die there. Fortunately, we got Bob Lemon out of the Tijuana Pokey. But a lot of people don't. There have been people sitting there all their lives down there in Tijuana jail. People die in Mexico. I've read stories, I've heard stories, I've heard people tell me what happened to them. At one point during the late 1990s, a report was issued by our police department not to go down to Mexico. As officers, we were not allowed after that point in time to even go near the border. The only time we were allowed near the border was to either arrest someone or bring them back into the United States. That's the only time we were allowed down there. But now we have 4 more Americans. At least 2 of them have been killed. We don't know the status of the wounded person that was brought back today. And we don't have any statement from the other woman. There have been too many armed incidents between unidentified civilians. What exactly happened on Friday is still not completely known. The issue of cartel violence continues to be a hot topic, especially in Texas. In fact, on Friday, the same day as the kidnapping, conservative Republican John Cornyn was with lawmakers speaking about Mexico's fight with the cartels. They visited several towns in the Rio Grande Valley, including Brownsville. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham on Monday said it was time to put Mexico on notice and advocated introducing legislation to classify some Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist groups and set the stage to use military force if necessary. That should be done. But what this guy in charge in Washington right now, I don't think that was going to happen. Senator Graham said this, quote, "I would tell the Mexican government, if you don't clean up your act, we're going to clean it up for you. unquote. Yesterday, ABC News named the 4 Americans. Again, Shaheed Woodward, Zindell Brown, Latvia Tay McGee, and James Williams, with the last 2 named by Tamaulipas officials as the survivors. Victims of violence in Matamoros and other large border cities often go uncounted because the cartels have a history of taking bodies of their own with them. Local media have often found reporting on such incidents out of safety concerns, creating an information vacuum. Videos posted to social media Friday showed armed men loading bodies into a truck in broad daylight. Broad daylight, ladies and gentlemen. What happened down there is inexcusable. People were forced out of this van at gunpoint and taken out of there and thrown in the back of a pickup truck. Kidnapped. The U.S. State Department's travel warning from Tamaulipas State warns U.S. citizens not to travel there. However, being a border city, U.S. citizens who live frequently cross to visit family and attend medical appointments or shop. It would also be a crossing point for people traveling deeper into Mexico. For years, a night out in Matamoros was also part of a 2-nation vacation for spring breakers flocking to Texas' South Padre Island. But increased violence over the past 10 or 15 years has frightened away much of the business. The FBI said the van the victims were driving carried North Carolina license plates. That was false. It was South Carolina license plates. Authorities have provided no other details about who they were or where they were from. That's a bad sign. But at least we have at least 2 of them back, and hopefully the other 2 as well. Now, the next story we have been reporting on now for probably over a week. Okay? In fact, probably a lot longer since it first happened with the train derailment over in Ohio. Since then, there have been 10 other train derailments. Now, this story might come to surprise a lot of you. Environmentalist activist Aaron Brockovich today was named in Ohio law enforcement reports on special interest terrorism threat. Aaron Brockovich has been named as a terrorism threat. Ohio law enforcement issued a warning of potential terrorist threats from violent extremists surrounding activities planned by environmentalist activist Aaron Brockovich in East Palestine, Ohio. Okay? Local law enforcement has issued a warning about terrorist threats from violent extremists in connection with Aaron Brockovich. As you all know, a Norfolk Southern train carrying toxic chemicals derailed in East Palestine February 3rd. Authorities there also burned off a chemical called vinyl chloride, and we've been reporting on it. A carcinogenic ingredient used in the production of plastic products. And in burning that vinyl chloride off, it created what's it called? Phosphorus gas. The vinyl chloride also burned off into another chemical, dioxins, and benzene. Aaron Brockovich went down there to East Palestine, Ohio, and warned residents that at the town hall this is going to be a long game. Aaron Brockovich has about 2 decades of experience in handling these toxic incidents. Yahoo News obtained the report, which was dated February 24th, and was distributed to law enforcement agencies by the Department of Homeland Security and the Ohio Statewide Terrorism Analyst and Crime Center Terrorism Analyst Unit, Situation Awareness, the STACC-TAU. The report states that the possible terrorist threat assesses that special interest extremist groups will continue to call for changes in governmental policy, which may lead to protests in and around East Palestine and or at the State House in Columbus, Ohio. The report went on to state that Aaron Brockovich blamed the rail company involved with the incident, and rightfully so, Norfolk Southern, and that the in-person event she planned at East Palestine could increase tensions there. She warned about it. She's not the terrorist, but law enforcement, including the Department of Homeland Security in Washington, has labeled her a terrorist threat, and in fact has put her on the terrorist watch list. DHS posted the report on its intelligence sharing platform on February 28th, 7 days ago, making it available to more than 150,000 local, state, and federal police and other partners nationwide. It's gone nationwide now. They've labeled Aaron Brockovich a terrorist. The report assesses risk posed by Brockovich and others, what it calls extremist activist groups, and differentiates them from the traditional right-wing and left-wing terrorism in that extremist special interest group seek to resolve specific issues rather than affect widespread political change. Again, it comes down to the Democrat communists' green energy. They don't want their climate change thing to go any further than they want it to. They continue to want to capture attention of the American politics and the awareness of their own agenda. That's the truth. The Ohio Department of Public Safety denied issuing the report naming Brockovich. The Ohio Department of Public Safety, the police, have denied issuing the report naming Brockovich as an extremist terrorist. And I must say right now that the Ohio governor, DeWine, is still delaying declaring East Palestine a state of emergency. He has delayed in calling East Palestine a state of emergency so that the state and the East Palestine government can get federal funds to help clean it up and get people that live there the money they need to get out of there. Now, while I'm talking about that, the Norfolk Southern Railway has started offering residents money to leave, money to evacuate, and set up residence elsewhere besides East Palestine. They've already started that. We'll see where that goes as well. This is unprecedented, guys. This is completely unprecedented. Okay? Hurricane Heather says the real terrorists put her on a terrorist list. Oh, the irony of it all. Yes, very true. And I stand with Aaron Brockovich on this event, this incident. This should never have happened. Norfolk Southern is guilty and the United States government is guilty. As I pointed out, BlackRock and Vanguard are also part owners and supporters of Norfolk Southern Railway. Vanguard and BlackRock have ties with the United States government. So the government is also implicated in this. And I still believe in my heart of hearts that there was sabotage and neglect of the tracks that led to the derailment. Not just Norfolk Southern cars' wheels were on fire, but the track. And we've seen derailments from Norfolk Southern trains all over the southeast. All over the southeast. Right here in North Carolina, just east and north of me. A derailment this past weekend. It hasn't stopped. The tracks have been neglected. They're supposed to have what they call maintenance of way people out on the tracks, checking the tracks frequently, up and down the entire railway corridor. I've seen it happen in Los Angeles. I've seen it happen in San Diego. I've seen the maintenance of way people in Denver. What these people have been doing is wrong. They need to be taking action. They need to be taking action. Okay? Now, I have something else I want to talk about besides that. Okay? Yesterday evening in Cincinnati. Okay? This also needs to be talked about. There was an explosion and ensuing fire that damaged a chemical plant in St. Bernard, Ohio. Cincinnati area, Ohio. Okay? Firefighters responded about 7:30 p.m. for a small isolated explosion at Emery Oleochemicals on Estee Avenue, according to the Cincinnati Fire Department. Emery Oleochemicals, headquartered in Cincinnati, produces chemicals commonly made from natural oils and fats. Emery started out as a tallow and candle business in 1840. It later began the commercial production of chemicals used in cleaning chemicals or pharmaceuticals. The Cincinnati Fire Department is at the scene assisting St. Bernard Fire and EMS. The explosion occurred in a chemical process and resulted in a leak of nitrogen gas inside the plant. This is according to Cincinnati Assistant Fire Chief Matt Flagler. The fire was under control after, I think, about an hour and a half. Cincinnati Fire Department stresses there is no hazard to the public outside the facility. Winston Terrace residents say that they could hear the explosion from their homes. They weren't that far away. One resident, Jasmine Walton, said we could hear the warning, them telling everyone to evacuate. She said, I'm a little afraid because we're right there at the bottom of Winston Terrace, right on the other side of the factory. My daughter has chronic lung disease, so I was nervous of what the explosion was and what could come of it. Like I said, the fire came under control very early. There is no hazard to the public as reported by Cincinnati Fire. Winton Terrace residents say they could hear the explosions from their homes. St. Bernard police said there was a hydrogen explosion that was contained to a building at Emery Oleochemicals. Police said there are no health hazards or chemical threats to nearby homes or businesses. No one needs a shelter in place according to the police. Okay? That was the latest that I heard from last night and this morning when I called them. Everybody needs to be aware of this. Okay? My next report is this. Okay? Some of you may think that there's a video coming. It's not. There is a video about what we're talking about, but I can't put it up. Regarding our broadcast last night, we've had a great many people ask about e-cars, ask about e-bicycles as a result of that fire in the Bronx at the shopping center. Okay? One of our family, the EMA family, asked, an e-bike set this on fire? Does that mean e-cars will probably cause these types of fires also? So I checked into it. One of our followers also wrote, they already have ferries and they're refusing to take those on the ferry, meaning the e-bikes and the cars. Refusing to take them on the ferries in New York, in Britain, not New York. Refusing to take those electric vehicles on ferries in Britain. Now, I did an investigation earlier. E-cars have already caused fires, big fires. Big fires occur during auto accidents. Even minor accidents cause fires. We've also seen stories of e-cars being charged and bursting into flames. Now, some of my investigation became this. I checked. Google says electric vehicles are about 0.3% likely to ignite versus a 1.05% likelihood of gas cars. That's according to the Bureau of Transportation Statistics and the National Transportation Safety Board compiled by Auto Insurance Easy last year. It's not like electrical vehicles are more dangerous. On February 6th this year, Boston, this came out. You may have seen the YouTube videos of electric cars catching fire. The dramatic scenes are playing out all over the country. Just last month in Wakefield, the driver of a Tesla crashed after he lost control of his car on black ice. It went up in flames after the lithium-ion battery caught puncture by a guardrail. When the crash happened, the guardrail caught the battery and punctured it. The driver told WBZ-TV team that the car was a total loss. It's not just after the crash that the car's batteries ignite. Videos showed tow trucks with hitched up electric cars on fire. Videos show cars on fire after they've been hooked up to tow trucks. And a surveillance from a tow lot shows a car spontaneously combusting days after it was involved in a crash. The batteries got hot and lit themselves on fire. It's incidents like these that have some question the safety of electric cars compared to gasoline-powered cars. Car safety expert Sean Kane said there's not much information available on car fires. The data on fires in electric vehicles versus internal combustion engine vehicles is still pretty thin. And generally speaking, from the available data, the risk is probably about the same in terms of the risk. And fire data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Board is not just thin. It's also 5 years old and is limited to fatal highway crashes. That report shows out of 20,315 gasoline car fatalities from 2013 to 2017, there were 644 reported fires. For hybrids, 543 fatalities and 21 fires. And electric cars had 41 fatal crashes and 1 fire. Kristen Pullen, the Deputy Director of the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, told the I-Team, "What we are seeing is that electric vehicles are newer and higher end, so it is hard to compare and to say that one is safer than the other. These rare events have a catastrophic crash. These events are so new, and right now they're rare because there's not that many electrical vehicles out on the road. That said, there is a significant danger to firefighters battling electric car fires. The batteries are hard to get to. They're hard to put out. And the stranded energy that remains with the battery in the car can easily reignite. Wakefield Fire Chief Tom Purcell, involved in the Tesla blaze, said, "And it's dangerous. They just don't go out meeting the fire. It reignites in a minute or two." The National Fire Prevention Association is providing training to first responders and released videos showing just how hazardous these fires can be. The National Transportation Safety Board also posted an informational video for fire departments and made several recommendations to auto manufacturers, including providing easy access and clear information on how to put out a battery fire, and how to move the car, and how to safely store it. So what does all of this mean for consumers? Mr. Pullen said she believes that cars are safe because they are newer. They are more likely to come with safety technology. The driver of the Tesla was totaled, that I told you about a minute ago, paid $120,000 for the car. And it's the second one that he's owned. When asked if he would get another car like that, he said without hesitation, yes. The National Transportation Safety Board said that they want to have the safety board to study fire risks to first responders from the electric car batteries reigniting. The NTSB wants the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration to study the fire risk first responders have from electrical car batteries reigniting. The National Transportation Safety Board investigated 3 electrical vehicle crashes resulting in post-crash fires. Post-crash fires. And 1 non-crash fire involving an electrical vehicle, all of which illustrate the risks to emergency responders posed by the vehicle's high-voltage lithium-ion batteries. The NTSB also examined national and international standards that have been established to maximize the safety of electrical vehicles. Paying particular attention was given to the emergency guidance documents supplied by vehicle manufacturers to mitigate the safety risk to first and second responders who deal with electrical vehicle crashes and high voltage lithium-ion battery fires. They want specific investigations. 1, on the battery itself. 2, on how the fires reignite with the battery once they're put out. And 3, they want to make sure that the firefighters, the first responders, including the police, know how to handle the situation when they come upon an electrical car crash and a subsequent fire. Fires in electric vehicles powered by high voltage lithium-ion batteries pose a risk of electrical shock to emergency responders from exposure to the high voltage components of a damaged lithium-ion battery. A further risk is the damaged cells in the battery that can experience uncontrolled releases of temperature and pressure. Thermal runaway is called. Thermal runaway, which can lead to hazards such as battery reignition fires. The risk of electrical shock and battery reignition. The fire arises from the stranded energy, what they call stranded energy, that remains in a damaged battery. They still are not sure what happens when those damaged batteries get screwed up, and how they can reignite, and how they can develop the thermal heat that they do and cause more fires. As I reported, there was one such fire in a tow storage area. We've seen those tow storage areas all the time. These tow yards have fires. Yes, they do. And it's not just gasoline. It's these lithium-ion batteries that we're seeing. Okay? I wanted to make sure that we addressed it. Yes, these batteries in these vehicles can combust. And they do all the time. For the most part. Okay? For the most part. We see these vehicles park in the parking lot beside other cars. So would those electric vehicles pose a safety hazard to anybody around them? Yes. Number two, would they pose a safety hazard having other vehicles with gas tanks around them? Yes. Because if those vehicles catch on fire, they're going to catch the other vehicles on fire too because of the extreme heat. Should they have special parking places? I don't know. Should we allow any cars to park in front of stores like I've seen them do? And it doesn't matter what kind of store. We've all seen cars park in front of stores either waiting for a passenger to be picked up, or waiting to drop off a passenger, or waiting to pick merchandise up. These fires could happen at any time. Is it safe? I don't know. I just don't know. That remains to be seen. Again, these newer electrical vehicles are so new, we don't have adequate data to show the danger of fires and other electrical devices catching on fire from them. I guess it's going to be seen. Will it catch another store on fire like that e-bike did? The e-bike was parked up against wood and pallets, I guess, near an expansion of that store, as I have it, and it caught the thing on fire and burned the place to the ground. Could it happen again? Yes, it could. Those e-bikes are being used to transport goods to and from stores, to and from people's homes. Some people have asked for delivery from the stores. Now, that particular store can't deliver anything because it's gone. The laundromat around it is gone. Are e-bikes more efficient? Could they cause fires to buildings, apartments, and homes that they go to? Yes. Some of these e-bikes are rented. Some of them are rented. We'll see where that goes. Okay? But what is going on? We don't know. We don't know. Each and every day there's a possibility of something happening. That's all I'm going to say. Yes, it could happen again. It could happen anywhere. Anyway, I told you I would also get to earthquakes. Yesterday I told you that we would talk about earthquakes in Southern California if Caltech provided the information. Well, guess what? Today, Caltech released information on earthquakes all over Southern California, and it has today's date on it. All these seismograms that I'm going to show you have the date of March 7th, today. So we're going to show you current information, okay? Current information. I want to make sure that everybody is aware of what is going on, okay? Now, this seismogram is coming from the Channel Islands just off the coast of Los Angeles, just off the coast of LA. Now right now I'm going to expand this seismogram a little bit so we can get a full shot of what's going on here, okay? Want to make sure everybody can see this. At the top of this seismogram, this started at 4 a.m. this morning, okay? And at first, all we have are basically microquakes. Microquakes. At the far right, which would be about 4:14 a.m. this morning, you see a small minor tremor, probably a 0.3 tremor, okay? Actually, that was a 1.4 tremor, I'm sorry. These others are just microquakes, 0.1, 0.2, okay? But this on the black line up at the top, that's a 1.4 tremor. But look what happens throughout the day here, okay? Look what happens throughout the day. These tremors get larger and larger, don't they? Larger and larger. Down here in the bottom right in the red, okay, this is a 1.7 tremor. This is at 3:28 p.m. this afternoon. Okay? That's a 1.6, 1.7 tremor. It was pushing a 2.0, but it didn't make it. Okay? That is out in the Channel Islands just west of Los Angeles. Separate fault zone. There's all sorts of fault zones all over Los Angeles and in the water in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Los Angeles. Like I said, this is the Channel Islands. Let's go over to Los Angeles. I want to show you the seismogram from Los Angeles City. Okay? This is pretty much normal for Los Angeles. From morning till afternoon. This is just barely tremors. Microquakes and tremors all over here. This is from downtown LA. Okay? Let's continue. I'm going to show you stuff in Los Angeles, then we're going to go north and east. Okay? North and east will also go just south of LA. I want to make it clear what's going on here. Okay? Let's go over to Del Amo now, just northeast of Los Angeles. Okay? Del Amo. We've shown you seismograms here from Del Amo for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Things have gotten worse. This is probably the biggest event here that we've seen in Del Amo. Almost the entire seismogram has been taken up in color. That's a result of seismic energy. An increase in seismic energy here in Del Amo. Up at the top, at 4 a.m. this morning, all you can see is just microquakes and some small tremors. But all of that has increased throughout the day. Okay? That 415 line in the red just below the black line. Okay? You can see even the increase from 4 a.m. Then it continued on the blue line, 4:30 a.m. Then the green line, it continued, but you can hardly see it because it's covered up in the black and the red below that. You can see the steady increase in seismic energy here in Del Amo. This is an exclusive community. Del Amo is high-priced residences, anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million homes in Del Amo. And yes, you can see 2.0 earthquakes. 2.0 is the slowest side. It's the smallest side of earthquake seismicity. Below that is tremors. 1.0 to 1.9 are considered to be tremors. 2.0 to 2.9 are minor earthquakes. Nobody can even feel, unless they're very sensitive, nobody can even feel the 2.0, 2.9 earthquakes. Nobody. The most sensitive people in the world might be able to feel a 2.5, 2.9. But normally the people will not feel that. Now, with that said, there are a lot of people that feel 2.9 earthquakes. How is that possible? That's because the agency has lied about the size of the earthquake. The agency lied about the power of that earthquake. It was larger than a 2.0, 2.9. They just can't. If you feel something the agency has said is a 2.0, 2.9, the agency's lied about the size of the quake. Now, looking at this particular seismogram, look at the earthquakes on the bottom line in the green. Okay? Look at the bottom line down there. There's some 2.0s, and I believe there's even some 2.5s to 2.8s down here in the green. With that said, look at the ones above it. We see an awful lot of color. Reds, blues, blacks, and greens, especially over to the center right. We may have had a 2.8, 2.9, maybe even a 3.0 here. A 3.0 sometime just before 11:30 a.m. this morning. It's in the center right-hand side, in the black. There may have been close to a 3.0 earthquake there. The rest of these, I believe, may be 2.0 to 2.7, 2.8. Minor earthquakes here in Del Amo today. Okay? That is a significant increase. Folks, we are going to see a larger earthquake in Los Angeles, and this is just evidence of it. This is evidence of it. Another place in Los Angeles, a pretty good-sized community, and it's a very expensive community. It's called Ellis. Ellis. Look what happened this morning. Up at the top of there, there's about 3 hours of microquakes. Nearly 3 hours of microquakes, except 6:35 a.m. this morning. On this blue line, at the top you can see it's more than just a microquake. It's more than just a tremor. Okay? We had at least a 2.0, if not a 2.5 earthquake here this morning. Okay? You can see that. You can see the other activity today. This is indicative of Ellis having larger seismic activity. This is an increase in seismic activity over previous weeks. Ellis, California. Now I want to take you to Laguna Bell. This is near the coast, on the coast of California here. This is tiny, microquake, and minor tremors. Microquake and minor tremors. That's all it's here. This is a little bit less activity than we've seen here in Laguna Bell before. This is minor activity. Okay? Very minor activity. I now am going over to Los Alamos Park. This is northeast of Los Angeles. Okay? Los Alamos has a horse track. I'm familiar with it because I used to go to LA. I'm also familiar with a radio station in LA called KNX Radio, a news talk radio station. I listen to them on a frequent basis, and they gave the statistics of the horse races at Los Alamos track. Folks, this is a seismogram from there. Okay? What you see here are minor tremors. That's all this is. There's a bunch of microquakes in the background. Yes, background. Background. Minor quakes are happening all over. There are no completely straight lines here. There's no complete straight lines here. Otherwise, that would say there's nothing going on. There are microquakes happening here. And you can see the tremors coming up here. This is also an increase in activity there at Los Alamos. Okay? Let's go over now to North Hollywood. Good old North Hollywood. I just love Los Angeles. I love Hollywood. Now you see a bunch of wavy lines here. Okay? This is not normal seismic activity. Again, this is someone playing with the seismograph. Okay? But in amongst all the trash here, you do see some tremors here. You see some 1.4, 1.5, and yes, maybe even a 1.6 tremor over here on the center left. Okay? Just about 11:43 a.m. this morning on the green line. Okay? Maybe a 1.6 right there. But that's all. All of this is just minor tremor activity and a bunch of trash behind it. Okay? Those of you that have paid attention to this program for a long time, you know when there's trash. If it's not a normal straight line or you can see the tremors there, it's trash. Okay? Just trash. Now, I'm going to continue here. Okay? I'm going now to Pardee. P-A-R-D-E. Pardee, California. Look at the tremors here. As we've been covering earthquakes and tremors here in Los Angeles area, this is also an increase in tremor activity in the LA area in Pardee. It's almost entirely tremors here. It literally doesn't stop. It slows down for about a minute and a half, and then it goes right back into another tremor here. The biggest tremors are maybe 1.3, 1.4 here. But these are tremors, nonetheless. The ground is shaking in Los Angeles. Okay? That's Pardee. Let's move on here. I'm going now over to Playa del Rey on the northwest side of Los Angeles. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. This is also a place with exclusive homes in the value of probably millions of dollars. Anywhere from $500,000 to over $1 million in property worth. Playa del Rey and Marina del Rey also have marinas where they have parked boats and yachts. Okay? What we're seeing here basically is microquakes in the background and an occasional tremor here, except in the center part of this seismogram, which is about, I want to say 10 a.m. About 10 a.m. for about an hour, hour and a half. You see larger tremors developing here. Okay? Then it goes back to background microquake activity and a handful of tremors. Okay? That's what's going on here. Playa del Rey, Marina del Rey area. Basically quiet. Very quiet in that area. This is along the coast again. Okay? Now I'm also going out to Rinaldi. Rinaldi is also a pretty good, well-to-do community. Homes in the value of probably $300,000, $500,000. What we're seeing here is microquakes developing into larger tremors here. Okay? I'm specifically looking at this line here after 7 a.m. Okay? What do we have after 7 a.m.? On the 7:15 red line here. The 7 a.m. line is over on the left-hand side. All times are Pacific. Okay? We see a buildup in seismic activity starting about 7:15. Then going down to the next line, which is 7:30 on the blue line. Again, a buildup of tremors going over to the right-hand side. About 7:44 a.m. this morning, we see a buildup of seismic activity. It goes from minor tremors into full-blown 2.0, 2.4 magnitude earthquake. We can see the top of this seismic activity here. We don't see the bottom of it because it's covered up in color beneath it. Seismic activity that happened after that, both on the green, the black, and the red line. Okay, it doesn't show the bottom of it. But I think we have minor earthquake activity. 2.5, 2.6, maybe a 2.7 earthquake. Okay? There are also some other earthquakes here too, maybe not more than 2.0. On the green line after that. Green line after that would be about 7:50 a.m. on the green line after that. It's just below that blue line. Then on a couple other green lines here, I believe we have some 1.7, 1.8 tremors at the best. Okay? But again, this is Rinaldi. This is a special area with expensive homes. Families mostly. Okay? I've seen a lot of this happen. Okay? Yes, I keep my fingers on the Los Angeles area. I watch traffic reports in Los Angeles. I'm very familiar with the neighborhoods now and watching the traffic reports and what's going on. Okay? Let's go over to Rio Hondo. Rio Hondo community is also probably, I would say, not exclusive, but it's got expensive homes there. Rio Hondo. Here we have a lot of tremor activity. Yes, we have some upper magnitude microquakes, okay? 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, but it's also getting up into the tremor range here as well. Look at all the color here, okay? When we see increase in color and less white, then we know there's increased seismic activity. Definitely increased seismic activity here, okay? You can see it. Less white activity. You see more color, you know stuff is going on. Now I'm wanting to just cover the Los Angeles area, and then we're going north and east, out even to the desert areas, okay? But I wanted to make sure we had LA covered. Let's go out to Walnut La Puente. Look at this. Yes, we have had seismic activity out here. We've had earthquakes in Central California. We've had earthquakes in Los Angeles. We even had a 3.9 in Central California, south of San Francisco Bay, southeast of Monterey Bay today. 3.9 earthquake there on the San Andreas Fault. Folks, this area is and has significance because the San Andreas Fault is east of here. For the most part, San Andreas Fault is east. But all these areas can be affected by the San Andreas Fault. How? How is that possible? Because there are ancillary faults around the entire Los Angeles area. Some of those faults can be connected to the San Andreas Fault. And as a result of that connection, it's going to cause earthquakes in LA. And other earthquakes coming off the San Andreas Fault and other earthquakes coming down from other places in California are also affecting Los Angeles. And seismic energy coming from the south, from southern Mexico, Central America, and even South America. All that energy is also coming north. So we have a conglomeration of energy in Southern California, and that's what we're seeing here. Okay? We've seen energy here for quite some time. Okay? Walnut La Puente looks more like Mount Shasta did 2 years ago. When we were reporting on Mount Shasta on the north side, one of the seismographs on the north side of Mount Shasta looks like this. Okay? A lot of earthquakes. And yes, this is all earthquake activity. Okay? You can see it here. Up at the top, just after 4 a.m., you see a bunch of tremors here. Long duration tremors. But further down on this, even after 5:30 a.m. this morning. Okay? About 5:32 a.m. this morning, 5:32 a.m. and some change, we have seismic energy builds in the form of tremors into full-blown earthquake activity. 2.8, 2.9, and even possibly 3.0 activity just after 5:32 a.m. this morning. Then it continues. And even before that, over here on the right-hand side on the red line, this is 5:29 a.m. this morning. That, folks, is at least a 2.8 magnitude earthquake. In the blue and green areas here, you see these larger earthquakes happening. And I'm not talking about 4.0s or 5.0s large earthquakes. The 4.0 to 4.9 would be considered to be moderate earthquakes. These are small earthquakes. 3.0 to 3.9. That's what these are. Okay? And except for this black one on the right, near the top. Okay? This is on the left side it would be 7 a.m. this morning, so over here on the right, this is just prior to 7:15. So this would be about 7:13 a.m. this morning. This is at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake. Why do I say that? Look at the top and the bottom of it. It's been cut off by the agency. We can't see the bottom or the top of that seismic event because they cut it off. It was definitely a larger earthquake than what they're saying here. Okay? A large earthquake. On this green line in the middle here, in the center here, that, folks, is at least a 3.0 earthquake. Now, how long did it last? How long did that earthquake last? Like 5 minutes. 5 full minutes of shaking. Okay? 5 full minutes of shaking. It started over here on the left-hand side in the green, in the center here, with tremors. It built up over about a minute's time period to a full-blown 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. and then it continued. I think this earthquake was probably a 2.9, 3.0 quake. Not larger than that. The one over on the black line above it, to the right, that was definitely over a 3.0. 3.5, even probably larger. We don't know because the agency took the information off. We may never know. Before that earthquake in the green in the center, look over here to the left. See that green earthquake here? That was 7:45 a.m. Look over here to the right, before that. That 7:45 line started before. Okay? It had a tremor buildup at 7:43, 7:44 a.m. this morning. Tremor buildup for probably a good minute and a half to 2 minutes. Then we had full-blown earthquake activity, at least 2.0, 2.4, 2.5 earthquake activity. Then it got larger over here on the left-hand side in the green line. Okay? Again, these earthquakes are lasting here on this particular quake. This one lasted about 3 minutes. This one further to the left in the green, that's 5 minutes of shaking. If that had been a 5, guys, people would have been exiting their homes. Fortunately, this was a good shake. A gentle shake, but a long shake. You can see other seismic activity all over this seismogram. Serious because it needs to be watched. We need to know what's going on. But unfortunately, Caltech is not going to tell us. I will be surprised if Caltech even puts up seismograms for tomorrow or the next day. Because it seems like they go about a week time period before they show us anything. But here, folks, this is getting to be big levels. When we see bigger earthquakes here, we're going to see it announced all over the country. Large earthquake hits Los Angeles. Walnut La Puente area getting hit here. Okay, that's a big deal. This is a big, big deal. Okay, I'm not going to paint it any less than it is. It's a big deal. Let's go over to Long Beach, Anaheim area. This is light hype, guys. We've constantly been telling you about light hype. We've told you about State Street. The next seismogram you're going to see is State Street, and it's just as bad, even bigger. Okay? Almost all the white of this seismogram has been eliminated by the color, which means an increase in seismicity, an increase of epic proportions for these earthquakes. Okay? This is not just 2.0 activity. Okay? Yes, up at the top at 4 a.m. we have microquakes and tremors, but then the seismic activity increases. We don't know what yesterday's looked like because they have not recorded it and let it out for us. They may have recorded it for themselves, but they won't let us see it. Okay? But the seismic activity has been building up here over by Long Beach and Anaheim for quite some time now. We've reported on it. Whenever they've released the seismograms, we've shown it to you. Look at the bottom of this seismogram. This is for example. Okay? Look at that. Look at the increase in seismic activity here. Okay? These are good-sized earthquakes. These are good-sized earthquakes. Yes, there's some 1.5 tremors, there's some 1.8 tremors, but we have some earthquakes going off the paper here. These earthquakes off the paper is the ones that I'm concerned about. Okay? We're talking about 2.0, 2.2, 2.3, maybe even 2.5 magnitude earthquakes. We can't see the tops of some of them because of the color before, the color seismic events before that. But over here on the left-hand side in the green, we can see the tops of some parts of this earthquake. And yes, I'm concerned. 2.5 earthquakes here. 2.5 earthquakes. What is going on now? I don't know. I don't know. They're not going to post what's going on after this. But this certainly we need to keep a look at. Long Beach, Anaheim area needs to be kept a look at. Okay? This is not going away. I'm sorry, it's just not. Let me show you State Street. This is another one that I want to tell you we have to keep a close eye on. A very close eye on. Isn't that wonderful? I can't believe this. They took State Street down a little, about 3 hours ago when I first picked this up. Okay, I just found it again. I'm going to show it to you. If they don't take it away from me again. I hope I've got it this time. Here we go, right here. This is State Street. It's also near Light Hype. Okay? Look at this. Look at the increase in seismic activity here. Almost no white whatsoever, except at the top. This is seismic activity gone crazy. Okay? You've heard of those Girls Gone Wild videos over in Florida? This is seismic activity gone wild in Southern California. Okay, look at that. These are just not tremors, guys. These are earthquakes happening. 2.0, 2.5, 2.8 magnitude earthquakes. Look at that. You can't tell me anywhere where there's just a tremor here. You can't tell it. And in some places, it may have been closer to a 3.0 earthquake here. Okay? Look at the bottom line here in that green area. We even have a blue line coming through above that, going off the chart. Okay? 2.5 to 3.0 earthquakes here. Look at that. Does anybody live in this area? If you do, you have felt shaking. My buddy Al Sanchez is here. He says, yikes. I will almost bet you that my buddy Al Sanchez has felt some of this activity. He lives in LA. Okay? That's amazing. Demon Catman says State Street. Yeah. Isn't that something? This is Los Angeles. Okay? Look at the bottom on the right-hand side, on the green line. That might be a 3.0 small earthquake. Felt earthquake. Felt. Capital F-E-L-T. Okay? That is quite some movement. Diana Large is here. Okay? Diana, do you want to become a mod again? Diana Large was one of our mods here. Do you want to become a mod again? I'll make you a mod. That is some movement. John Patoka says, nothing to see here. Isaiah's granny is asking, isn't that near La Brea tar pits? I think this is just south of the tar pits. Isaiah's granny, I think that's just south of the tar pits. Diana says, yes, she wants to become a mod again. Guess what, Diana? I'm adding you as a moderator. Thank you very much for that. And congratulations. Diana made it over to this page. I just made her a moderator again. Thank you so much, Diana. God bless you for that. I appreciate your helping us. And NanoGaf is here saying, look how long the shaking goes on. Absolutely. Isn't that something? It doesn't stop. It does not stop. Michael McKinney says, move it along, folks. Nothing to see here. Uh-huh. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. This is unreal. No, thank you, Diana. We appreciate you. Demon Catman gives us lightning bolts and picking a pick, or I guess a hammer and a wrench here. I had to make Demon Catman a mod here too. Demon Catman, can you handle that, buddy? That's unreal. This is unreal. This is Los Angeles, guys. Look at this energy. Look at this energy. Here I am, I'm showing you the seismogram and I'm waving my hands. You guys can't even see it. Yeah, this is crazy. This is insane. I've been waiting to show you this all day because I saw this earlier. That's insane activity. Let's go north and east. I want to show you some stuff north and east. Let's go over to Chico, California. Albert Sanchez says he felt it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was just as busy as today, but guess what? Caltech's not going to tell us that. They're just not going to do it. Susie Fujinaga says, I always thought to make Demon Catman a mod. Demon Catman's a great guy. I got a letter from him a while back. It's awesome. He's a good guy. Wolfman says, you couldn't pay me to live there. Oh, I wouldn't live there either. No way in heck. You couldn't get me anywhere near Los Angeles. No way. Here in Chico, you see the seismic activity here. It's building here as well. Yes, we have quite a few microquakes, but look at all the tremors here. The tremors are building in intensity and the number of tremors. Okay? Increased seismic activity here in Chico. Yes, our friend Robert lives there. Robert is a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for 20 years, I think. Maybe 25 years. Unreal. Unreal. I wish he was here in the chat again. I haven't seen him in a while. Richard's going nighty-night. Nighty-night, Richard. It's good to see you here. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you, brother. Really do. Yes, this, folks, is unreal. I never thought in my wildest imagination that this seismic activity would increase like this. Never. Never. Okay? I now want to go out south and east. I'm going over to Hemet, California. Hemet, California. Hemet, California is out in Orange County. East Orange County. This is the location of the San Jacinto College campus. I spent teaching some law enforcement classes out here at San Jacinto before. Here we see a bunch of tremors. These are just minor tremors and a bunch of microquakes. Continuous microquakes. There's not one solid line, horizontal line here. If it was solid horizontal and nothing going on, I would have a problem with that, considering all the seismic activity that's going on here. But there is no solid red, blue, black, or green lines here. These are shaking lines, meaning microquakes are ongoing. And it's increased seismic activity in terms of tremors. Just minor tremors, but tremors still. Okay? The buildup of tremors in this area says that there's a lot more activity that's coming. A lot more activity. Richard Smith says, mods ask Ron for a picture of Mr. B.I. I sent him. Good night, all. Richard, I'll find that and I'll put it out. Thank you for that. Richard, did you put it out to Proton Mail, or did you send it to my personal email that I gave everybody? Okay? But I'll look for that. Thank you so much. Anyway, guys, this is a lot of activity even out in Hemet, California. Let's go out towards the desert. Oh, I love the desert, guys. I love the desert. Let's go out to Barstow. Barstow, California. Here we just see nothing but tremors, microquakes. Microquakes and micro tremors, just minor tremors. Okay? Nothing. Nothing. Or hardly anything. I can't say nothing, but hardly anything here at Barstow. This is the San Andreas Fault in Barstow. Let's go down south. This is Big Bear Mountain. This is a ski resort in Southern California. This is also a volcano. Big Bear Volcano. Look at this. These are minor tremors here as well. Nothing more than minor tremors and a bunch of microquakes. A bunch of microquakes. Not a lot going on there. And I just want to tell everybody this. They've got a solar observatory there at Big Bear Mountain. That's where this seismograph is. It's at the solar observatory. And it's recording minor microquakes and stuff happening. It's going on. It's going on. Okay? Let's continue south there. Let's go over to I want to show you something here. How about Rancho Mirage? Good old Rancho Mirage. Look at this. This is also the San Andreas Fault. The seismic activities here is building as well. You can see the microquakes. You can also see the tremors here. Rancho Mirage. What a wonderful place, huh? What a great place. I used to like Rancho Mirage. Nice place to get away, good people there. Let's go further out there. Let's see where we go here. Oh, I didn't show you the University of California. There's not much happening here. Look at this. This is microquakes and tremors all over LA here. Okay? This is University of Southern California at LA, UCLA, or not UCLA, USC, University of Southern California in LA. Okay? These are microquakes and tremors here. The increase in tremor activity here. It's not increased overloading, but it's still happening there. Okay? Let's now go over to Victorville. Isaiah's granny and several others, Callie, lives in Victorville out here. Okay? Look at this, guys. Increased seismic activity here as well. Okay? This is probably the most activity that we've seen out in Victorville. Yes, there's a lot of microquakes going on. Consistent duration of microquakes. However, look at all the tremors here. All these are minor tremors here. All day long. Minor tremors all over Victorville. Okay? It's increasing. Seismic activity is increasing Victorville. I don't think we're feeling anything right now in Victorville so far. That can change. It has changed in the past. Okay? So I've shown you out there. Now I want to take you over to another place. Okay? Remember us talking about China Lake, Ridgecrest area? Let me take you to Christmas Canyon, China Lake. Okay, look at this earthquake here. Christmas Canyon, China Lake. At the top of this seismogram, we see 4 a.m. again. Just some minor tremors out here. Very tiny tremors. Some microquakes, but not too many. Very little happening except for this earthquake here. Okay? This earthquake here has me thinking about everything. Let's increase the size of this so you can really take advantage of this and see what's going on here. Okay? This seismogram started out yesterday evening, 4 p.m. yesterday evening. This is a little bit different than the others. Okay? But this is Canyon Lake, China Lake area. I shouldn't say Canyon Lake. It's Christmas Canyon at China Lake. Okay? Look at this earthquake. This, folks, is a 3.0 earthquake near China Lake. Today, folks, that's the first time I've seen a 3.0 earthquake at China Lake. And yet, guess what? They're not talking about it. Heaven forbid that this agency is going to tell us about a small earthquake at China Lake. Heaven forbid they're going to identify this earthquake as a 3.0. They're not even saying a 2.5. But this is a 3.0 at Christmas Canyon, China Lake. Christmas Canyon. Those of you probably don't even understand where Christmas Canyon is. Let me give you an idea. Okay, this is a map where Christmas Canyon is. You can see it. Okay, let me bring it down here. This will give you an idea of where it is. Okay, you see Ridgecrest and Inyokern further northwest here. Okay, this is way south, probably 25 or 30 miles south of Highway 178 here. Okay, let me give you another map. Get you in closer into it. Okay, that's where it's at. Okay, this is near Randsburg, Washington Road. Or, excuse me, not Washington. Randsburg Wash Road. Okay, Christmas Canyon. You can kind of see some elevations here. It's in the mountain area here. Okay, let me show you another picture. This one, well, let me show you a couple pictures. Okay, I think I do have a couple pictures here. Okay, this is the Mojave Desert. Now you have a bigger picture of the entire area. Okay, Christmas Lake is just south there of the 178 sign here. This will give you a better idea of where Christmas Canyon is. Okay, let me show you a realistic picture of Christmas Canyon here. Just a second here. This is Christmas Canyon here. You can see it. You can see the actual seismic energy, or not the seismic energy, the seismic events of the past. There's actually a fault there. You can see it. Okay, this is Christmas Canyon. Let me show you something else I discovered out here. This might blow a few minds. Look at this. I found a tunnel there. I found a tunnel out here in Christmas Canyon. Now remember me telling you about tunnels out at China Lake? China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station. This is south and east of China Lake. Okay, here's a tunnel. Who knows how long this tunnel's been here? See those cubby holes there built into the wall of this tunnel? That's incredible. I stumbled on this, I scratched my head and I'm going, oh, everybody's going to want to see this. That's unreal. I've lived out here. I haven't lived out here, by here, but I've been by here I don't know how many times. I did not know this even existed. Okay? That's incredible. It's just incredible. Don Patoka says, I know nothing. Don Patoka is acting like Sergeant Schultz. I know nothing. I hear nothing. I see nothing. I'm going to tell Colonel Clink. Colonel Clink, that's the way it is. Colonel Clink. Now, it's unreal, guys. I had no idea that I'd find this tunnel there over in Christmas Canyon, China Lake area. Unreal. Totally unreal. So now I've shown you this. Now let's go south, okay? Let's go a bit south. I've shown you Victorville. Let's go over to San Diego County. Let's go over to San Diego City, okay? I've shown you this before, okay? This is San Diego Mission Control. They call it San Diego Mission Control because this is the San Diego Gas and Electric Building. San Diego Gas and Electric Building controls all of the electric in San Diego County. Okay? It controls everything. I used to pay my electric bills here to SDG&E. The seismograph is at the SDG&E building just north of Mission Valley. That's, I think, why they call it Mission Control. Just north of Mission Valley on the west side of Mission Valley. Okay? I've been up and down that road so many times. But here, they're just showing light microquake activity, if anything. Nothing's happening there in San Diego. Yet. We have had activity there in the past, but not today. 2 weeks ago, we showed you a seismogram here at SDG&E, and guess what? We had tons of microquakes and tons of tremors here. Okay? So this is nothing here in San Diego. I wanted you to see that because we don't have much shaking except East County, San Diego. East County, San Diego. Okay? I'm first going out to Cuyamaca High School. This is in the Cuyamaca Mountains east of San Diego. This is the Elsinore Fault. This is the Elsinore Fault. Look at the tremors here. These are real honest-to-goodness tremors. You can see them here. You can see the actual build of the energy. Okay? That's incredible. You see some microquake activity, yes, but this is real seismic activity here. You can see the build of the tremors here. For the first time, I've seen this ongoing now. Okay? That's a good slide here. This shows exactly what's going on. Demon Catman says, but mongoose is mongoose, not mongooses. Yeah, a language mix of many cultures and speak. Yeah, you're totally right, Demon Catman. Absolutely. Cacti is plural of cactus, he says. You're right again. Cacti, C-A-C-T-I, is a plural of cactus. Okay? Unreal. Unreal. Demon Catman, you're good. Demon Catman says, spot the reindeer. Oh, I could show you reindeer. I could show you deer and reindeer. Not where I live, but I could show you deer where I live. Hardknack Falls says, my brother lives in San Diego. I lived in San Diego for nearly 30 years. Literally from North San Diego County all the way out to East County. Okay? Out here to East County, and I flirted with the Elsinore Fault out here. Yeah, I flirted with the fault. I was all over the fault, literally. Crazy, huh? All sorts of crazy. Okay, let's go. Demon Catman says, mongoosey. Yeah, mongoosey, I can see that. That's funny. That is funny. Okay. Before we go further into San Diego, I forgot to show you one other thing. Those of you that have been in Los Angeles and have lived in Los Angeles, out east of Los Angeles is a town called Fontana, the city of Fontana. Out in Fontana is a place called Cal Electric. This is a seismogram from Cal Electric in Fontana. Look at this. This is also an increase in seismicity here in Fontana. There are very little microquakes here. 90% of this seismogram here is all tremor activity. Okay? We're seeing 1.5 to 2.0 activity here. Over at 11, is it 11:30? Yes, it's 11:30 on the blue line on the right-hand side. You see on the blue hand on the right-hand side at about 11:40, say 11:43 a.m. this morning. That's a 2.0 earthquake. And there's also a few others here. There's also a few others. Most of this is just tremors, but there's also some small minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes here all over the place. Okay? This is the most activity I've seen out here at Cal Electric in some time. Okay? This shows us what is going on. No, this has very little to do with the San Andreas Fault. This has very little to do with the Elsinore Fault. But like I said, there are ancillary faults off of the San Andreas Fault that we have to worry about. Fontana has seen 4.5 activity here. They've seen moderate earthquakes here. Folks, this is going to be another one of those times that we may see 4.5 earthquake out here in Fontana. It's getting close here. Okay? Yes, Susie Fujinaga, this is called Cal Electric. It's a company out here in Fontana. I've shown you pictures of Cal Electric before. It's been several months when we were on the other channel. Unfortunately, I can't retrieve much of anything from that time period. I suppose I could go back through my videos not my videos, but my pictures of the seismic activity I showed you and pull up pictures of Fontana area. I can go back and do that anytime. But this is in Fontana, California, just east of Los Angeles. Okay? But I thought you deserved to see this as well. Okay? There's a lot of activity out here, and it's moving. It's moving a great deal. Now let's show you Riverside. Riverside. Riverside is nothing more than minor tremors. There is no microquake activity here. This is nothing more than minor tremors. It's building. It's getting to be more colorful, but nothing more than minor tremors here in Riverside. There's going to be a larger earthquake here. It's coming. You can see it. You can see it. Now let's go over into East San Diego County. There's some places that I know about that have earthquakes in East San Diego County. Such a deal. Such a big deal. Okay. There's a place here. I'm just going through my notes here. I want to show you this. I think it's very important. This is also another place called Campo, California. This is southeast San Diego County. Southeast San Diego County. This is at a school. This is at a rural school in Campo. Campo was a very small town of probably no more than 2,000 people. It's got a railroad museum out there, actually. I've been out here. What you're seeing here is no more than just minor microquakes and tremors. Very, very minor tremors here. 1.2, maybe 1.3 tremors, nothing more than that. But you can see that here. Now the lines are almost firmly shaped, just straight. Almost straight, not quite. Okay? But we see seismicity building even here at Campo Elementary School. There's another place I want to take you. It's called Pachanga Casino. This is out east of El Cajon. This is out east of El Cajon. This is a new casino as of about 2010. It's been there for maybe for about 10 years now. Okay? 10 or 11 years. You can see the seismic activity here. Okay? This seismogram starts at 4 a.m. this morning. But you can see the small tremors here. Just very minor tremors. Very minor tremors. A lot of microquakes, but a bunch of tremors here as well. Even out here in East San Diego County, it's shaking. Out here, it has shaking, and it's responding to the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault is shaking out here. Okay? Now let's go further east. Let's go over to the Salton Sea area. We're talking about Imperial County, California. Imperial County, California. Let's go over to the city, or excuse me, not even the city, the town of Imperial. Okay? There's a town called Imperial here. Look at the earthquakes here. USGS is not showing us this. They're not showing it at all. Look at these earthquakes here. Okay? Look at 6 a.m. this morning. Look at that. I'm sorry, no, that's 8 a.m. This is 8 a.m. this morning. We have 3.0, 3.4 activity here in Imperial County, in the town of Imperial. You're not going to see this on the USGS map. It's not there. It's not there. But you're seeing it. The seismograms don't lie. You're seeing small earthquake activity out here in Imperial. Look at those small earthquakes here this afternoon. Let me enlarge this so you can see it even more. Look at that. This afternoon, just after 3 p.m. Just after 3 p.m. over here on the left. Now we go to the right. That's after 3 p.m. On the left, it's after 3:15 on the red line. Over here on the black line on the right. Okay? This is about 3:25. Not 3:25. That's wrong. About 3:11 p.m. this afternoon on the black line here. That's a good 3.0 earthquake as well. So we had one about 3:11 and another one about 3:16. Okay? Both of those earthquakes lasted a while, didn't they? Close to probably 45 seconds. Then on the green line below that, the green line is 3:45 p.m. over on the left-hand side. This first earthquake is probably 3:50 p.m. 3:50 p.m. If this wasn't a 3.0, it was close to it. Then further out there, almost 3 minutes later, we have another good-sized earthquake. Okay? Another 3.0, maybe 3.3 earthquake. It's hard to tell because it's off the paper again on the bottom of it. But this is decent-sized earthquakes here in Imperial Valley, California, in the town of Imperial. Okay? USGS doesn't have to show it on the map, but we can see it on the seismogram. Okay? This is south of the Salton Sea. We can see it. We can go further east and south over to Holtville. This is a Salton Sea Desert Research Station in Holtville, California. I've been to Holtville a long time ago, but I've been to Holtville. The last time was probably 1993. Okay? But look at these tremors here, and at the bottom on the black line here. Okay? After 3 p.m. This is about, I want to say 3:11 here. This is another close to 3.0 earthquake on the black line here. Okay? Look at that. This is south and east of Imperial. This is about probably 40 miles southeast of Imperial, the town of Imperial, California. Okay? That's incredible. It doesn't stop. Let me show you more seismographs in this area. This might blow your mind. Okay? Now, let's go a little bit north of Imperial. There's a town we talked about in the past called Westmoreland. We have EMA family here. They probably have not followed us here to this channel because they've lost us from the other channel. And I'm probably going to call them tomorrow and invite them here. This is incredible activity. Okay? This is tremor activity. Yes, there's a bunch of microquakes happening here, but these are all minor tremors happening all over. The last time I talked to these guys was last year. They told me that they were feeling the earthquakes, not just tremors. They were feeling earthquakes, and here it shows tremors. Okay? The lady that I used to talk to until last year has died of COVID, unfortunately. Her husband's still alive, and I'm going to see if I can call him. He's a good guy. Anyway, this is Westmoreland. Let's go about halfway up the Salton Sea on the west side. Okay? This is called Salton City. Salton City is where we're going next. If we go up Salton City, or Salton Sea on the left-hand side of the water, we go up north until we get to Salton City. This is very, very light tremor activity. Almost negligent. Not negligent, but negligible. Very tiny tremors. Okay? Nothing big. We've seen 1.8 tremors. We've seen 3.5 earthquakes here at Salton City before. But let's go out to the east. Let's go out to the east to a place we all like to talk about, at least me, because I like to show it to you. We have bigger earthquakes on the east side of the Salton Sea. This is Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach, California. Okay, this is exactly what we saw at Walnut La Puente. This is what we used to see over at Mount Shasta. Okay, when we used to show you I think it was LBO seismograph at Mount Shasta, it showed the same thing that we're showing you here. These are good-sized earthquakes. Good-sized earthquakes. 3.0, 3.5 earthquakes. Okay? On the red line on the far right. Okay? It starts off with minor tremors. It builds to bigger tremors and then full-blown earthquakes. 2.5 earthquakes growing into 3.0, 3.4, maybe even 3.5 earthquakes here. And it continues over on the blue line beneath it on the left-hand side. These earthquakes lasted about 3 minutes. 3 minutes worth of shaking, and then it diminishes to a secondary wave and then to a body wave that continues out another couple minutes. Okay? That's a good size. Actually, body wave may be 3 minutes long. Okay? Then it happened again after 6:29 a.m. this morning, we had another quake on the right-hand side here in the red. Started off with tremors, starts off with 1.2, 1.3 tremors, building into full-blown 2.0, 2.3, 2.4 earthquake, and then it gets larger. This one is not as large as the other one. This might have been a 3.0 earthquake, but I believe if it was 2.9. Then it diminishes into a secondary wave and turns into a body wave again. Then after 7 o'clock, after 7 a.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5:32 a.m. this morning. 7:32 a.m. 7:32 a.m. this morning. Look what happens here. Not 7:32, I'm sorry. About 7:05 a.m. this morning, we have tremors. Then it builds into a full-blown earthquake again. 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. Okay? Yes, they may have chopped off the top of this. It kind of looks like it. This may have been larger than that. Okay? Then after that, over on the red line beneath that, okay, we have a bunch of tremors there. I don't believe it's anything but maybe 1.7, 1.8 tremors. Okay? But we have building earthquakes the rest of this seismogram down here. Okay? There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 earthquakes on this particular seismogram at Bombay Beach. This is over on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault goes under the Salton Sea here at Bombay Beach. So this is definitely on the San Andreas Fault. You can see it. That's incredible activity. That's really incredible activity. Now, I want to take you to show you a couple other quakes worldwide. There's been some quakes I'm concerned about. Okay? I'm going back here to the USGS map. Okay? Again. Okay? This earthquake that's just south and east of Monterey Bay. This is the Pinnacles. This is a 2.0 earthquake. But there was another earthquake here earlier. It was a 3.9 earthquake, and they've taken it down. The only other earthquake here that they list on the San Andreas Fault is Parkfield, California, that I highlighted here in blue. Parkfield, California. That's the earthquake capital of California. This is only a 0.4 microquake. Just northwest of there, this is San Ardo. This is a 1.0 tremor. Okay? But there was a 3.9 just south and east of Monterey Bay here earlier. They've taken it down. Heaven forbid they tell us the truth. Okay? Oh, we have another earthquake here. This one is over off the Gorda Ridge. This is the Gorda Ridge here. It's north of the Gorda Escarpment here, but it's just east of the Gorda Ridge here. This is a 3.0 earthquake. A 3.0 earthquake. You see the Gorda Escarpment that runs east and west here away from the California coast? The Gorda Ridge runs north here from the Gorda Escarpment, and then you have the Cascadia Subduction Zone that runs here from the Gorda Ridge and the San Andreas Fault here and runs almost straight north along the coast all the way up just west of Oregon and Washington and Vancouver, British Columbia, all the way to Queen Charlotte Island. Okay? All the way up here to Queen Charlotte Island. Let me back this up and show you. Okay? See where that earthquake is, that 3.0 way down here? just east of there is a Cascadia subduction zone. It's that red line that runs parallel to the coast. Runs parallel to Northern California, Oregon, Washington, also up on the west side of Vancouver Island, all the way up here to Queen Charlotte Island here. Okay, that's the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay, so we do have an earthquake over here on the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone, the Cascadia subduction zone region. Okay, but what I have to show you is down here in Papua New Guinea. Okay, this is concerning. Okay, this is very concerning. This is just off the coast of Papua New Guinea here. This is a 6.0 very strong earthquake. Very strong earthquake. This is 72 kilometers southwest of Cline, Papua New Guinea. Again, it was in the ocean waters, so for the most part, the ocean waters absorbed the shock waves of this quake. However, this island right here that I'm showing you, if there's anybody there, they felt a good part of the shaking. Maybe as much as a 5.0 large quake. If there's anybody here, and yes, it looks like there could be, because there's some beautiful areas here. Okay? So there might be people living on this island. They may have felt this. Okay? A 6.0 earthquake just 72 kilometers south-southwest of Caving, Papua New Guinea. Okay? That's unreal. And then we have another earthquake down here, also in Papua New Guinea. This was a 5.3 near New Britain region, Papua New Guinea. Okay? This was on land. Now, I don't know if anybody is even living in this area. Okay? It looks like there may be some settlements here. I don't know. Okay? There's some clouds there. There's some clouds here. There might be some buildings here. We cannot get close enough here. We don't know. It looks to be some people living down here. We can't get close enough to know. They may have felt this 5.3 shaking here. Okay? This is serious. Large earthquakes, 5.0, 5.9 are considered to be large. 6.0 to 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. Fortunately for the people in Papua New Guinea, they may have been dealt a good hand here. They escaped a big blow with that earthquake being out in the water. There's something else here as well. Okay? I'm going over here into Mindanao Island, Philippines. Okay, this is another big deal. Okay? This is also a 6.0 earthquake. Okay? This is just barely 4 kilometers or 2 miles, American miles, southeast of San Marino, Philippines. Okay? These people felt that quake. This is a very strong quake in the mountains of this area. Okay? There are people living in these villages. Okay? There are people living in these villages. I can't get much closer than this. But in these villages and along this river plateau area, there are people living here. If I was able to get in here with my other device here, I could probably show you villages, homes, and businesses in this area. This is a big deal. These people in the Philippines have had very strong earthquakes. They've had major 7.4, 7.6 earthquakes in this same area. Okay? Over here to the west, this is Davao, D-A-V-A-O, Philippines. Okay? Philippines. Look at these cities here. This is a big deal. They probably also felt this quake. Okay? It hit on land, but these people felt this quake. Davao, Philippines has had a direct hit here in Davao, Philippines before. They've had tremendous damage here from earthquakes in the past. This earthquake is northeast of there, but they probably have some kind of damage from this quake. Okay? This is concerning. There's also another aftershock here. This is a 5.6 earthquake here. Okay? A 5.6 is a very large earthquake. A very large earthquake here. Again, it's not in a populated area, but there are people living out here. This is very concerning to everybody. Okay, anytime we have these large earthquakes near population centers, I worry about these people. And at least both of these earthquakes are concerning, at the very least. This earthquake down here, just in the north central area of Indonesia, this is in the Molucca Sea. This is a 5.4 earthquake. Being out here, the ocean waters absorb the seismic energy here. I don't think anybody in any of these islands was affected by this 5.3 earthquake in the Molucca Sea here. Going further down here, okay, this is just off the coast of Sumatra. Just off the coast of Sumatra. This is another 5.3 earthquake here. Okay, this is just on the fault zone. You can see that red line here. This is another fault zone. Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, and the Philippines are right smack dab in the middle of a huge subduction zone, just like the subduction zone we have up in the Pacific Northwest. But this is a larger one. This is 7 different plates, 7 different earthquake faults, major earthquake faults. 7 different plates, one subducting under the other here. Total subduction. Total subduction. Each plate subduction under the other. Okay, this is a big deal. That's why we continue to have earthquakes here. Now, these are not the only earthquakes that have hit here. USGS doesn't even show us all the quakes. They will never show us all the quakes here. It's beyond them. Okay? I totally believe they don't want to do it. Okay? Otherwise they would. This earthquake is over in southwestern China. This is a 4.1. It also happens to be near around one of the biggest air bases in China. This is near one of the biggest air bases in China. This is Heiyuan, China, a 4.1 moderate earthquake there. Okay? That's what's happening there. We had another earthquake down here. This here is a 4.9, 5.0 magnitude earthquake here in the Andaman Islands. A large earthquake over here in the Andaman Islands. This is 181 miles, or 181 kilometers, about 100 miles off the coast of Bamboo Fiat, India. Okay? In the Andaman Islands. Okay? We've had a lot of earthquakes out here. A ton of them lately. A ton of them. Also over here. I want to take you over here. This is another moderate earthquake in Tajikistan. A 4.3 magnitude earthquake here. And a smaller quake as well. This is a 4.0 in Afghanistan. We have a lot of earthquakes here. Okay? A ton of them. Then we take you over to earthquake central in Europe. Okay? Actually in the Middle East. This is not Europe. This is in the Middle East. This is Turkey and Syria. They're showing 3 earthquakes, guys. There's 200 earthquakes here. This happens to be a 4.4 in Turkey. Endurm, Turkey. Okay? A 4.4. They're showing a 4.2 here. And over here to the west, this happens to be, oh, they just froze my, oh, darn it. They cut and pick and froze my, earthquake map. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to bring it back. I'll bring it back. I want to show you this. This is pretty darn important. Again, they take us back to the United States. I'm going to take us back to Turkey here. Okay? This is important. USGS shows us 3 quakes, and there's 200 here. These are 4s. These are 4.4s. There are 5s here as well. There are 5.0s here as well. And they're not showing us any. This is a 4.7 here in Haktor, Turkey. So they're showing us 4 quakes. There's 200 there. Incredible. They're not showing us earthquakes here in Romania. They're not showing us any here in Greece. None at all. They're not showing us any in Italy. None. None here, up here in the North Italian Alps, over here near Switzerland. Not showing any in France or Spain. What's up with that? They're not showing us any earthquakes over here just east of the Strait of Gibraltar. There are some. There are also earthquakes over here. They're not showing us any. There's earthquakes over here in the Canary Islands here near, just off the coast of, I can't even remember the name of the island here. It starts with a C anyway. They're not showing any earthquakes here. Really, why not? Because they decided it's not worth it. Really, it's not worth it. They're showing us this earthquake here out in the mid-Atlantic. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake along the mid-Atlantic ridge. The mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. The mid-Atlantic ridge is expanding. That's why we keep getting these earthquakes. Okay? Where is it expanding to? It's pushing the North American craton. It's pushing North America craton. Okay? The continent. Pushing it south-southwest. Okay? USGS is not showing any other earthquakes up here in Iceland. There's about 11 there. Okay? There's a bunch of earthquakes all over here. They're showing some earthquakes down here in South America, just a handful. That's one 4.5 there, a 4.5 here in Antofagasta, and another one up here at Bolivia, where Chile and Bolivia meet, the border region, another 4.7. Over here in Colombia, a 5.0 large earthquake. Woohoo! But this, folks, is not real. Okay? They may show us a 5.0 and a few moderate earthquakes over here in Chile, Bolivia area. There's actually about 20 earthquakes here in South America that they're not showing us. They're showing us one earthquake here in Central America. This is a 4.5 off the coast of Panama. And actually, this is not correct. This is off the coast of Costa Rica. A 4.5 moderate earthquake off the coast of Costa Rica. This is actually northwest of Panama. It's Costa Rica. Okay? They're also showing us a bunch of earthquakes over here near Puerto Rico here. Just one off the coast of Dominican Republic here. This is a 3.9, 4.0. One in the Mona Passage, which is the passage of water between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. This is another 3.2. And north of Puerto Rico here. This is earthquakes being dropped by the Cayman Ridge, which is an earthquake fault you see here. This is a 3.4. This one here is a 2.8. How about these other earthquakes here in southwestern Puerto Rico? These are aftershocks of a 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes that hit here December 28th and December 29th, 2019. These are also a group of 2s here. Okay, that's a 2.2 here. Just to the east of there, it's a 2.4. To the north is another 2.3. South here is a 2.2. North of here, there's a 2.2 here. South here, out in the Caribbean, it's another 2.2. This one here, this is another 2.4. And over here to the northwest, we see a 2.0. These are all aftershocks of an 8.0 and an 8.4 earthquake that hit back in 2019, almost 3+ years ago. Okay, that's an awful lot of seismic energy. These earthquakes here are just off the southeastern coast of Puerto Rico. Okay, this is a 2.5, and this one here is a 2.6. There have also been some earthquakes out here in the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, but they're not going to show us those. There's also something else happening here in this area. It's seaweed. It's actually poisonous seaweed. The seaweed itself is not poisonous. It is a microorganisms that attach themselves to the seaweed that is. And it's plaguing this whole area around the U.S. British Virgin Islands and eastern Puerto Rico. When the stuff washes up on shore, you need to avoid it. If you're in this area, you need to avoid it. Don't get rashes and other things that happen to your body as a result of coming in contact with this seaweed. Stay away from it. Okay? Just stay away from it. Another couple earthquakes I probably ought to show you. One here in Oklahoma, it's a 2.1, and one in Kansas today. Both of these earthquakes are oil and gas related. This is Lincolnville, Kansas. I haven't been here before with you guys, so I'm going to zoom in here to Lincolnville, Kansas. This is 14 kilometers or about 10 miles southeast of Lincolnville, Kansas. Okay? Lincolnville, Kansas, guys. There's oil and gas areas all over here. Okay? This is oil and gas. And I would also say there's probably a fault related right here with these rivers and water systems here. That is a fault as well. But there's oil and gas all over here. There's plots everywhere. Okay, that's oil and gas. There's also some fault areas here. Okay? Oklahoma is definitely oil and gas. Guarantee it. Okay? This is near Velma, Oklahoma. This is a 2.1 earthquake here. Okay? Let's blow in here. Okay? You can see the plots here. They're not that far. Just southeast of that earthquake here, there's an oil and gas pumping operation right here. Okay, I can't go any closer, but you can actually make out the machines that are there. Okay? Pumps and jacks here. Pumps and jacks all over this area. Okay? You can see them. You can see them everywhere. To the north here, there's pump and jacks going up here. To the west here, there's pumps and jacks all over this area, guys. That's why these earthquakes hit. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? I know we've gone over a lot here. Okay, I waited to the end to show you the worldwide earthquakes, but again, we can't see everything because this agency is worthless. They're basically worthless. Any questions here for any of you? Tomas says, Fuerteventura. Fuerteventura. I'm not sure what that means in Spanish. I've forgotten a lot of my Spanish. I've forgotten my Spanish. Yeah, David Catman says, Seaweed, the new horror film. Yeah, it could be. It could really be. I saw a weatherman earlier today that talked about it. And he went into detail, and he actually showed pictures of the seaweed on a beach. Incredible. Diana Large says, as if we don't have enough problems. I agree. Earthquakes and bad water? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But we had bad water from the incident in Ohio. Okay? The air, the ground, soil, and the water have been contaminated, and that water has moved. Okay? The air has moved. Hundreds of miles of bad soil, hundreds of miles of bad air, and it's continuing. All of that air in East Palestine, Ohio, is completely contaminated. They're trying to throw new water in on top of the contaminated water to aerate it, hopefully to separate the contaminants and make them leave and go downstream. Downstream, you're polluting it. Okay? They're throwing good water after bad here. Okay? Good water after bad. And as a result of them dumping water, causing a little bit of splashback from the water, those bubbles and the aeration goes into the atmosphere, and it still smells chemically. Okay? That sweet smell of the vinyl acrylic, it's still there. It's still contamination. People can taste it, people can feel it. People are still getting burns and rashes on their skin from the water. Taking showers. Those people need to leave. The government needs to have an emergency evacuation order and leave that area completely. Okay? Tomas says, sorry, assumed not suspected. I didn't know. Tomas, I didn't know what you actually said, but that's okay. It's all right. Tomas says it was the quakes on Ventura or Fuerteventura Island. He suspected. Tenerife. That's what I was trying to remember is Tenerife Island. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Tenerife Island. That's where the earthquakes are off of. Okay? It's crazy. Tomas, you're right. Thank you so much. Tomas is a good friend of ours. He's been a friend of the program for a long time, and I appreciate him being here. Okay? You don't have to assume you're right. You're absolutely right, brother. I appreciate you. Does anybody have any more questions here? Demon Catman says, boo. That's funny. You're all right. You're all right. We have 79 thumbs up, guys. Please, before you leave today, give us another thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. Okay? I'm sure there are more people watching this program than that. If you've seen this program, you enjoy what we've talked about, you've gotten something out of this program, please leave us a comment below this program today. There's comments spaces below this program. You can leave us a comment. Please give us a thumbs up on your way out today. We haven't quite finished, okay? I want to leave you with a thought tonight before you leave, okay? This comes from Hebrews chapter 5, verses 9 through 13, okay? And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all of them that obey him, called of God and high priest after the order of Melchizedek, of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are all dull of hearing. In verse 12, for when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have the need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and are become such as have need of milk, not of strong meat. All of us need to be taught the gospel of Jesus Christ. At one time or another, maybe we have gotten weak. Maybe we have forgotten things. Maybe we don't need the full meat. We need to start at the beginning with milk. That's what this apostle was talking about, is giving people milk. They can't handle the meat of the gospel right now. Okay? Verse 13. For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. Babes need to succor. Babes need to get up to the point where they can take meat. That has to do with most of us. Okay, most of us. Please understand the need for each of us to learn more about the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's all that scripture is talking about. All of us need that help. All of us need to learn. I need to learn. I need to learn. And yet I'm the teacher. I'm a teacher. I'm an instructor of the gospel. Even I learn every day by my study of the scriptures. Okay? All I'm asking, go through the scriptures yourself, study them. Mark them as I have with important things that you want to remember. Mark them with a red mark, or color in the scriptures very lightly in red. That way you can go to them and see them again very easily. Okay? The scriptures are an important part of my life, and I hope they are yours. Okay? It's important. Folks, I'm not here for myself. I'm here for all of you. Please, folks, if you will, we can't do super chats here yet. I have to have at least 1,000 subscribers. We're just over 300. For that, I appreciate each one of you. We're just over 300 subscribers, about 320 now. Please, folks, invite your friends and neighbors and loved ones. Please invite your family and extended family. Please invite those people that you socialize with in social media. Invite them to see this channel. Invite them to subscribe to this channel. Right now, we have just over 300 subscribers. Folks, I'll tell you this. Yesterday's video program that we put on, we had nearly 500 people that saw our program. That means that almost half the people that saw this program are not subscribed to it. Friends and neighbors and loved ones, I care about you. Please subscribe to this program. Everybody. It's important for each one of us. We have important information every day on this channel. And I want to make sure that we get out to as many people as we possibly can. In order to do that, you need to subscribe to this channel. And also, when you do that, click on the bell icon. There's a little bell icon in the circle. Click on that. When you do that, there's something else you need to do. There will be a small drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. Okay? Please do that. Please subscribe to our channel. Folks, you can still send us support in terms of money over at PayPal. We have 2 PayPal locations. We have a Venmo location as well. You also can send us money in the form of cards and letters. Stick the money inside of a letter. Stick it inside of a card. I love cards and letters. Folks, I have almost every card and letter that any of you have sent me right behind here in a box. Right behind me in a box. Every one of them. From 4 years ago on. Do you guys realize I've been doing this broadcasting since April 3rd, 4 years ago? Next month it'll be 4 years. And yet I lost my other channel. Please, folks, please subscribe to this channel. The more and more people we have here, the greater things that we can do here. But if you want to support this channel, and I haven't had a letter here or even a card here in over a week. Speaking of that, the last card we got was from Diane from Maine, from Buxton, Maine. We got a cool cute card here. Let me show you. Okay? Where there is hope, there is faith. Such a beautiful card with a great message. I really appreciate it. She sent us a check here, wrapped in this card, folded inside this message. I really appreciate that. She says, thank you for all you do to keep us safe. I look forward to your videos and updates. I pray for your health with being and safety, well-being and safety. May God bless you and yours. You've taught me so much on how to get prepared for any emergency. I don't think any of us can be well enough prepared, even 100%. But we're trying. We're working on it. Having a plan is great, she says. And she says she's a loyal listener, Diane, and then her last name. Diane, I appreciate you. I really do. I think this is a beautiful card, and I will forever cherish it. And it'll go in my box of cards here. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. May God bless you. May God keep you literally in His hands. Let God hold you in His hand, in Jesus Christ's hands. May He bless you. May He bless you forever. I love you. I care about you. You guys are the most important I have. You really are. May God bless you and keep you. That's my prayer for each one of you. God be with us until we meet again. We will see you around the corner. We'll be back here tomorrow night, sometime after 6 p.m. I had a lot to talk about, new information that came up at the last minute, and I didn't get on till late. I'm sorry about that. But when we have breaking news and information, I try to get the most and then bring it here to you. God bless you. God keep you. Know that I love you. Have a good night. We will see you around the corner. God be with you till we meet again. See you soon, guys. Good night.